This is UMAR AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I don't really need to introduce this man, but I'm going to anyways. It's the executioner, one of the most prominent sporting figures from America and one of the best fighters the world's ever produced, former undisputed middleweight champ and former light heavyweight lineal champ, B-Hop. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing over there, man?
All good. I think we're all in the same...
Things starting to open up over there where you at?
Slightly. Businesses are starting to open up. Where are you based at the moment, B-Hop?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I'm at Cafe Mom, one of my favorite spots that I come at. I'm here at the favorite restaurant. We open up. We got curbside here. See?
Oh yeah.
It's all here. So we getting over, like easing back into some normalcy. But let me tell you something, man. It's great to be around people, man, that you know, bring that good energy and that you have missed for a long time. I got my fans. How you doing? See, you got people hollering the B-Hop sign. So let me tell you something, man. You know, listen, it's challenging, but you got to be careful. You got to be, you know, you got to be aware. But in the same token, you got to live life too.
Absolutely. B-Hop, we're going to discuss, you know, Golden Boy's plans with the return of boxing on DAZN, etc. But first 5 or 10 minutes, I just want to look back at your spectacular career, Bernard. Let's go right to the beginning of your professional career. What advice would you give to any young fighters coming through who take a loss early on, or multiple losses? Of course, I'm referring to your debut, where you suffered a loss, and then you achieved what you did, and it's one of the greatest, as I said, fighters to ever come out of the sport. What advice would you give to a young fighter who has an early setback?
I would give advice to a fighter that has an early setback, whether it's sports or whether it's in life, period, is to look at your mistakes, look at your failure, because you didn't achieve certain things, whether you wasn't that good that day, you got out point, you got out beat, you just got outsmarted, or you just failed. Failure is part of winning. You must fail to recognize how winning is so great and winning is so sweet. Of course, and majority of athletes I know, you want to win all the time. But life brings on challenges and brings on changes. And let me tell you something. When I lost in '88, I didn't get over it real easy. Look at the next time I fought, it was 2 years later, right? 89, 90, I was inactive. So I can understand being heartbroken. But guess what? If you want to be successful, if you tell yourself and you look at other greats that became great but had some failures, you will understand in most cases it's part of being great. It's part of being a winner. You must go forward with the mentality of not fearing anything, even if it's a loss, because the team was better or you was better or they was better. You must go back in that training mode, correct what you could have done better and do better. And I will promise anyone, not just boxing, let's just talk about life and then sports. If you stick to it and correct those mishaps and failures and challenges in life, and you're still alive and still healthy to go forward, I tell you what, you will tell someone else what I've told you, the people that's listening to this interview.
That was probably one of the most inspiring starts to an interview I've ever done.
Yes. It ain't over till it's over, baby. Remember that. Bernard Hopkins lost his first fight and went 30 years later and became a Hall of Famer as of Saturday or Sunday with a legacy. The way you start off in life doesn't mean the way you need to end if it wasn't positive. Remember that. But you got to live through it. You know, I see a lot of generations, especially the young, a lot of suicides is up. The rate of suicide is up higher than ever. Whatever the reason, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not suggesting anybody not take this or don't take that, but I can tell you what you should take. You should take a positive approach to it and seek help wherever that help is at. And I realized that as an athlete, like any athlete in any sport, we have the attention of the young, the middle-aged, and even older people to be role models and to be inspiration. And when they see us strong, we might help them. So I challenge any of my, not just comrades in boxing, but athletic world, that we can keep and help a lot of people have hope by giving them a good conversation and also inspire them to never give up. And that's my opening of this interview that's ready to start, that we all have a job, whether we know you or not. We have a job around the world to make it better.
Well,
and it takes more than take you, it take me, and it take everyone that's going to listen. Thank you for giving me that presentation.
No, my pleasure, and I totally agree with you, Bernard. But not only were you successful inside the ring, of course, you beat the Golden Boy to become a part of Golden Boy. How did that even come about, from being Oscar De La Hoya to being where you are now and being in the business, Bernard?
Well, it came about 2 years later. I remember I was being nominated for the ESPYs, and I did win that year, and Oscar was there at the last dinner of the ESPYs in LA. And I went over, and I'll never forget it, and said, I want to go over and talk to, just say thank you for giving me an opportunity. Look, Oscar came up from another weight class under me to challenge a big middleweight who beat Tito Trinidad, who got a close decision over Oscar Tito, that was, and gave me a shot and took my career to a superstar status, because I don't think I really reached that in the business world of boxing for whatever reason. I don't want to get into that when I beat Tito, but I got it when I beat Oscar, because Oscar was the Golden Boy, correct?
Absolutely.
And I went over there and I thanked them, and we had 3 minutes of a conversation at a black tie thing with anybody of Oscar status. And in that 3 minutes, he said, I'm starting my own company. And I said, sure. And he said, I want to start my own company. If you're available, I'd like to promote you. And we changed numbers, literally right there. And I remember having this number, and I gave it to my lawyer at the time, Arnold Joseph. And we talk about this, me and Arnold Joseph. And he said, yo, I got a call like 4 or 5 months later. He got a call. He said, yo, you know that number you gave me? I said, yeah. He said, they want to fly you out to talk to you about a partnership with Golden Boy. I said, what, a promoter partner? He said, no, a promoter and a partnership, because he wants to start his own company. Yo, I was on the first thing smoking. 20 plus years later, from that ESPY year, the year I won, I have no regrets on that partnership. Through the good, through the struggle, through the unknowingly, with the next day, far as the company, when it went through the transition. But I made the right decision. I made the right choice. And let me tell you, we in the right place right now.
Of course, Bernard, you grew up in the streets and were involved in trouble in your youth. But did you always have that business mindset, Bernard, where you believed you'd become a successful businessman one day?
I always had that business mindset, even in my criminal-minded life that I had. Because even in that negative mindset I had, I knew to take that dollar and make it $20. I just wasn't really a good criminal. I caught more than I got away.
Bernard, in terms of inside the ring, what was your favorite win? Many people refer to the Felix Trinidad win as one of your best, because you were such an underdog in that fight. What is it for you?
Trinidad, Kelly Pavic, Antonio Tarver, Oscar De La Hoya.
In that order?
Yes.
Okay. And what was
Oscar De La Hoya brought me to superstardom. Trinidad made people know that what they thought and what they feared, however their opinion was about Bernard Hopkins, that I was here to stay. And obviously, I stayed another 15 plus more years after 21. Right? Do the math. Yep. So I became all that and some after the Tito fight. And Oscar just took me to a star-studding lifestyle and life respect in boxing.
I asked you at the start, what advice would you give to fighters regarding taking a setback? What would your advice be when you're at the top like you were and you made, I think, just over 20 middleweight defenses of your world titles? How did you have that mentality to stay at the top? What would you say to fighters fighting now?
Easy answer. If adversity didn't kill you, you must move forward. If not, it's only a complaint that nobody would listen or even pay attention and hear you as you continue to talk about yesterday if you don't make no sincere effort to change it. That's in sports, that's in life, that's in the movement today that most, if not all cities are dealing with. You must have a plan in any circumstances, let alone a setback.
Bernard, the connection's going a little bit, so yeah, I'm not ignoring you. It's just blinkering out a little bit.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I got all of that. It's just frozen a little bit. I think it's a bit better now. Let's talk about Roy Jones Jr., Bernard. I interviewed you on Canelo-Kovalev fight week last year in October, right? And there was a lot of rumors circulating that you and Roy were going to have this trilogy. I think Russia were interested and a load of other territories. What actually happened with that situation?
I think me and Roy has to keep doing some more like live videos to show people that he's physically ready, and if that's the case, a tiebreaker will be this type of fight, and I think the headline will be tiebreaker. But let me tell you, if it's just a conversation that go nowhere, I'm happy with that also. Am I willing to step back in the ring to settle the score? Because he's been up and I'm up, we even. I'll consider it as long as it's on a respectful level where we both ain't degrading our legacy or ourselves. But I'm not going to even say it's 50-50 or 80-20. I would say right now that it hasn't been spoken, but I'm not calling him out now. It was just a thing that seems to be a conversation that's basically continue to be a conversation. But let me tell you something. If it don't happen, not that I'm calling him out, because I'm not, because he's not calling me out. We're going to be two old men still talking about possibly fighting when you both know that me and him got to help each other up the steps. I'm fine with my legacy and all of that I achieved. I'm pretty sure Roy would tell you, I can't speak for him, but I'm pretty sure you can get in touch with him easy, just like you get in touch with me, that he's happy with his legacy. We have nothing to be ashamed of. At least I don't. And I can live with my retirement even after the Joe Smith fight. I'm going to say I have no regrets on any moment, even in, as people will look at distasteful moments, whether I said something, whether I did something, I have no regrets. And it's not being arrogant about that. And I made those adjustments, like mine is boxing. I made those adjustments, and part of that behavior was needed for that moment.
What was it like getting revenge over Roy, Bernard?
It was like, it was second to the birth of my first child.
Wow. That's powerful.
That's very, very seriously how I felt. Because if you look at 93, RFK Stadium, under the undercard of Jesse Ferguson and Riddick Big Daddy Bo, we fought for the IBF vacant title. I've been waiting to get Roy back in the ring, 16 years? Whew. Finally had got him back in the ring after 16 years. That means that 16 years until that day happened, he was on my mind, even through the victories I had.
Wow.
To
I
get
didn't
that,
expect you to say that. I didn't expect you to say that, Bernard.
to get that revenge.
Was it the first fight with Roy? Is that the best fighter you've ever faced, Bernard?
Roy is the best fighter I ever fought in 93. Roy wasn't best fighter in the year I fought him. No.
Of course. No, I mean in the first fight.
Yeah. Oh, well, the first fight, I was in there with Roy and Michael Jordan.
Bernard, UK fans are going to also want to know, how good was Joe Calzaghe, a very busy fighter in the ring? How good was he, Bernard?
He wasn't as talented as Roy Jones, but he was pesty. Energizer bunny. With fists, with hands.
Mm.
Strategy is very hard to time because he's so active in everything he does. And that will make Joe Calzaghe, to me, not only a Hall of Famer, but one of the greats in our era, an undefeated fighter, which is less in any history, as you know, an era in boxing. I still think Joe Calzaghe is still underrated by some scholars of boxing, and I disagree with that.
Talking about Hall of Fame, Bernard, what's happening with your one? Your induction?
Well, there's a pandemic that's right now is the undisputed. Why? Because not only it shut down the Oscars and it shut down the Hall of Fame and it shut down even the top sports in America, in the world in some cases. But these are the challenges that you don't expect, because we didn't expect this around this time last year. We was excited to get into 2020, right? 2019, you're looking to get all these plans, but you know what? If you're here to complain about it, you're here to fix it, or you're here to move forward. There's a lot of people around the world, especially in the United States, in Philadelphia, over 300 people would not have that second day or that second year or that second month or that birthday coming because they didn't survive. You must survive and then win. I said that before. And so, as humans, we can complain. I still do sometimes, and I'm conscious of, like, you know what? The Hall of Fame is not happening, man. You know, I did all this, and I gotta wait next year, and then they're gonna have it joined together with 21. And you know, you want the light yourself, because that's that sometimes that honest ego. But at least I'm here to smell it, to see it, to embrace my fans, to have my long speech that's going to happen. And I'm going to have the longest speech. I told everybody, I'm putting y'all know this. You ain't giving me 5 minutes. Not for 28-year career. You're going to give me 5 minutes to say something. They already know. Ed Brophy.
Sorry, Bernard, you just went there for a couple of seconds. Quickly back to Joe Calzaghe. There's a massive debate in the UK of who would have won between Calzaghe and Carl Froch. Is it Calzaghe for you, Bernard? Because you said he's underrated, so I'm guessing it would be Calzaghe.
Yes. Yes, I like him by decision, not a knockout.
Okay. All right, Bernard, let's move on to the current world of boxing. When do you anticipate Golden Boy and DAZN will be back in full motion?
I hope September. And I hope before September there's a sort of like a no such thing as a soft bout, but just a preliminary fight, whoever that is, that people can still enjoy the competition amongst two quality guys. I would like to see a soft fight or a fight to get people ready and adjusted. That we're back. We're back in business, and then Independence, which is a big month in boxing, that is September, and bring on Canelo to get us stimulated for 21.
Okay. Has there been any conversations about Canelo boxing without a crowd? Is that just unrealistic, Bernard?
Well, I think right now you got to go by the guidelines of the commission. I think everything is based on each state. California has their way of looking at the percentage of people getting sick. They're supposed to spike is happening in certain cities. One is Miami. Philadelphia is kind of steady. I think a lot can happen between we in June going into July, another week and a half or whatever. I think this is crucial of July and August, getting ready for the school year, and also Independence Month, which is our second big month in boxing. I think it has a lot to do with the next 30 to 50 days preparing for September to be our independence of a fight that normally happens, as you know, at the end of the year. That's one of the biggest months in a year, which is Independence of boxing in the Mexican heritage holiday. So there's a lot of factors and a lot of guidelines that you got to listen to the information from, the people that runs the state. So we only can do what we're allowed to do. I'm pretty sure, and as I speak to Eric and I speak to Oscar, look, we wanted to do a fight a month and 2 months ago, but you gotta go by the guidelines of the Commission of California.
Bernard, of course, in the UK, we want to see Canelo v Billy Joe Saunders. Derevyanchenko's also been touted. Anthony Dirrell's been touted. How likely is it that we see that Billy Joe Saunders fight? That was so nearly agreed for May.
I think it's going to come down to, because of the pandemic, because of economically took a beating on a lot of businesses, not only sports, but there's going to be some adjustments that some fighters might not like. You have to look at the economic impact that this pandemic has, or not only just sports. I mean, things been shut down for months, and it just don't snap back on like a light switch. So all that is going to have to be sorted out, because a lot of guarantees can't be guarantees. I'm not putting that out that nobody know or nobody had a clue. Even in corporate America, one of the biggest companies is laying off people. Hundreds. You can't have audience in stadiums. So that means there's no gate, there's no license fee. People are commentating. Look, Andre Ward, Top Rank show, he was at home. What was last week, the week before? So this is never been done, unusual nobody had any clue to prepare for this type of adjustment that need to be made. And it starts from the top all the way down. You got some fighters might say, hey, look, I'm not taking a pay cut. I'm not going to fight for 1/3 or half of this or half of that. Pandemic or not, I have a contract, this what I want. Well, I don't, and listen, I'm glad I'm retired. I'm glad that I'm not active fighter in this era where I have to actually be in a position to say, man, you know what? I might not fight or I might not play basketball because I gotta either be a team player or I gotta think about myself. I can't hold you one way or the other to that because if that's the way you feel, that's where you feel. If that's what you don't feel, I support that. But I can't tell a guy to go in the ring if he's guaranteed on contract to get $1, but then I got to give him 50 cents. It's not me to make that decision because you still got to fight. You still got to put your life on the line. You still got to do that. So it's a catch-22. And to me, that's why I said I'm glad that I'm retired. I wouldn't want to be, and again, I wouldn't want to be in position. It's a big controversy going on about the NBA. Some fighters, some basketball players, well known, right? Well known. 1 and 2, I think I have 2 or 3 championship rings. Like, look, I'm afraid to come back. I don't think it's safe. All the way down to certain cities with certain restaurants and certain, movie theaters, hair salon. This thing is a issue that hits every walk of life for people, sports and non-sports. So listen, it might be a few shows left in this year from whoever promotes them. I know Top Rank, I believe, got the Ryan Garcia's date. If you probably know if you follow boxing, I believe Top Rank got another show coming up.
Yeah.
I think it's a show. Yeah, right. So I'm just letting you know I'm in the know just as well as you, but I had to make sure. This is some serious stuff, man. And my thing is being a former fighter and also a business and a business-minded person. Like certain things, I just can't speak. I gotta stay out of it because it's like mixed emotions. You know what I mean? Because I never want to come off as a hypocrite. Always want to be as authentic and as straight up in my opinion, without leaning to a political side or a side of emotions. So that's why I give you both opinions, speaking for me only, how this thing is transpiring into something bigger than anybody I think would expect to deal with in 2020.
All right, so from that, I'll take it Canelo Billy Joe is up in the air, let's say. We're not ruling it out, but we're also not saying it's definitely going to be next. Is that fair to say, Bernard?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me come on to Ryan Garcia, Bernard. He's not been happy. He's vented his frustrations on social media about the recent purse he was offered by Golden Boy. What are your thoughts on this situation with Ryan Garcia?
That's why I mentioned it to you. So I'm well informed of it. But let me. That's why I mentioned it before you mentioned it to me. Again, I was at length with I really answered it before you even answered me again. But you're asking me again. I can repeat everything I said to you. But
have you spoken to Ryan much? Have you spoken to him much?
No.
Okay.
I really didn't have to, and I really mean that because once you speak to one, you speak to all, and I'm not the lead speaker. So like any company or any team, just like soldiers, you have positions and you have people that represent their position. And my thing is once I get all my information and I look at what I would do and what I wouldn't do. I put all of it together, and I said, I'm in the middle of this. And I feel that Ryan has a fighter perspective and a business, a right to feel the way he feels, but also the promoter has a business decision of cutting back on things that's justified based on a pandemic that everybody knows. So am I being insensitive? Am I being not a team player? And I'm speaking, you know, with can be perceived by certain fans, Instagram or this or that. Am I being not a team player? Am I being selfish? I mean, I'm reading all this stuff. I'm hearing all this stuff. But I'm like, I mean, don't you gotta remember, it's coming to me from fans. Hey, I really wanted to see that fight. Won't he just go in? I'm saying, well, you know, these are people that respect me, and they boxing fans, they Golden Boy fans. They want to see fights. They have their own agenda. They just want to see content. And I'm like, oh man, this thing. And guess what? I said, look, the man got a right, just like you got a right as a business to say, hey, we can do this, we can do that, and let's make a decision. Both people are happy, and we want to keep you happy. But in the same token, this country is going through a financial recession as we speak. And a lot of young fighters, or even fighters, period, or even people, don't even realize the impact that eventually is going to show in sports just as well as corporate America. It's already happening. And some will find out sooner than later, and some will not find out. And you know what? They're going to have to make the adjustments, whether it's late in the game or right now. But one thing for sure, a fighter should want to stay active to be great later. And that is a price to pay. And I don't want to compare nobody. And I'm going to throw a little thing in there with me. I don't know how long you've been in the game. I don't know how long you've been following it. But there's a lot of times I went in there for low my value because I had all the titles and I was being blackballed and I was being underpaid for my talent. And I was loud and bold about it. If you know my career, I went against the establishment. And I used that to stay in shape and keep winning until they couldn't throw nobody at me unless they threw the right value of my talent. And they eventually did. It's not because they liked me. It's not because I won them over. It's because I was the last man standing.
Bernard, do you have a gut feeling that we'll see Ryan Garcia via either Gervonta Davis or Devin Haney next year?
Yo, I've been saying Davis beginning of the summer of last year, 19, especially when they had back and forth Instagram fights. And then again, I'm in a big city that love fights, Philadelphia. When is Tank gonna fight Ryan? All the young teenagers, all the early 20s, my daughter 21, love Ryan Garcia. Second year in college in New York City. He might fight Tank. Everybody wants to see that. Tank got connections from Philly all the way down to DC and everything in the middle. Maryland, Baltimore, oh now yards. Come on, man. That's the fight to make now. It'll sell out any stadium. I believe so. If it was up to me, with no pandemic, that's the only fight that I want to see right now is Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis.
Devin, is it too early for the Devin Haney fight? Does that need to marinate more with him and Ryan?
Yes. They need a couple more a couple more hours sitting in the sauce.
I hear you, B-Up. Let's just finish off with the heavyweight division. After Fury stopped Wilder in February, who do you see as the #1 heavyweight at the moment, Bernard?
I think it's a toss-up between, in spite of the upset loss of Joshua, I haven't gave Fury the throne of being the guy at the heavyweight division. I think he's the guy in his personality. I think he's the guy in promoting it. I think his personality is like the Hulk Hogan in boxing. But I believe them two must fight this year or early next year, when I believe things can be open, where now stadiums will be maximized numbers and stadiums to try it out, but you at least got people in the building. I think the winner, when that fight happens sooner than later, I hope it happened right out of the gate when both guys step in that ring. And if they don't, they got to fight the second time they step in that ring with each other. That there would be, to me, the blessing of the undisputed throne of the heavyweight division. Joshua and Fury must fight to secure that undisputed heavyweight king of boxing. The heavyweight always been the head of the body of the boxing world. It went to a recession. Now that we have personalities and guys that can fight, and we have a personality in the heavyweight division. The last time I seen a personality in the heavyweight division, and I was a baby of this magnitude, was Muhammad Ali.
So you're saying since Muhammad Ali, Tyson Fury is the first one to have a personality?
I laugh at the guy as soon as he comes in. He don't even got to say anything. The way he dressed, he is bold. He don't care. He's loud. He's bright. I mean, I'm getting my dress codes. I'm getting things that, like, he just know how to present himself to be loved or hated. And Ali had that same thing. Mayweather had that same thing also. When the last time you seen a big guy with that type of personality, Tyson Fury, that his accent, the way he talks, the way he speaks, the way his personality is, and then he can flat out fight being the big guy like he is. And let me tell you something, you're not gonna find a six-pack on this guy. He has no six-pack. He has no big biceps, but he's big, he's tall. He's a lumberjack type of guy. And he know how to find a way to win. Listen, personality sometimes in entertainment, personality in most times, and sometimes it can be more than your talent. In this case, he has both.
Bernard, him and Anthony Joshua have actually agreed a 2-fight deal for next year. But let's just say the fight was tomorrow. I'm going to push you here. If you had 50 pence to put on either Fury or Joshua winning, who would it be?
I'll tell you, it'll be a draw, and they'll fight the second time. And the second time, Joshua will beat him.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with this one. You didn't expect this comeback.
What?
The first fight is going to be a draw. I'm telling you. The first fight is going to be a draw, right? The second fight, Joshua wins. But the first fight is going to be a draw because it's going to be hard to score, and that's where the controversy is going to come in on who really got the rounds, and the close rounds went to the champion. Both guys are coming in as champion. Both guys coming in and respected by the public and the judges. Yes, people got their own opinion on who should win before the fight. But I'm telling you, the first fight's going to be so close, it's going to be a draw. the second fight's going to happen and Joshua is going to win.
Why do you think Joshua beats him in the second fight? And do you think he knocks Fury out?
I figure he makes those adjustments. He figure them out, and he realized that instead of going for the head, he got to go to the body, and then it will fall. The head will now hit the knees.
All right, just to round off, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, James Toney, all talking about a comeback. What do you think about this, Bernard?
I don't think it's up to me. I think it's up whether they can pass their physical at any state commission. Where they fighting at in Dubai? They got to be fighting out of the country.
I have no idea.
If they don't pass their physical, they ain't fighting nobody. So it's really up to the commission. Nobody want blood on their hands if something happened to one of those guys in that ring, and they of age where, you know, this is a tough game. And if that do happen, I don't think it's going to happen in the States. I don't think they can get licensed here.
They've mentioned bare knuckle fights as well.
Bare knuckles?
Mike Tyson, Holyfield, yeah.
Well, if anybody need a few dollars, I might got few. I got a charity for any of those guys that I can talk out of, but they're gonna have to sign. They're gonna have to sign a paper with me that they would not step back in that ring. If they talking about bare knuckles, then somebody in some very, very deep shit of financial problems, because bare knuckles is totally different from fighting majority of your life in gloves. And you're gonna go back to the 1800s or early 1900s. I mean, you're going way back past Jack Johnson or before Jack Johnson. I don't think that. Where you gonna fight bare knuckles at? Is that legal? I mean, where's that at?
I have no idea.
Oh, they gonna do bare knuckles in somebody's yard?
None of the details have been revealed. It's not official that it's going to be bare knuckle, but they've talked about bare knuckle fighting. There's been reports on that.
Where in the United States you can do that is legal to do bare knuckles?
I'm guessing it's not going to be in the US.
I did bare knuckles on the Philadelphia streets way back. I want to talk about it, but where is it sanctioned and legal to do bare knuckle fighting?
No idea.
And what if somebody get hit and they die? Man, it got to be another topic you want to talk about, because I think this is all just so. I think it's BS, man. I tell you what, if I'm wrong, I'll buy you lunch the next time I see you.
All right. Well, listen, Bernard, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Hopefully, when this pandemic's over and the flights are back open, I'll see you over in the States. Is there anything you'd like to add before we go, Bernard?
Yeah, I would like to say one thing that you didn't touch on, and I don't judge you for it. I guess we had so much fun doing this, but I want to talk about something that I'm definitely passionate about, because everybody, I believe, of color has some kind of experience of discrimination, some kind of experience of being overlooked, or in some cases not even qualified before they made that attempt to see, or they qualified as what we have going on in this great country that we tell everybody we are. Racism is real. Is racism in boxing? Is racism in sports? Is racism in society? Just because it's 2020, that don't mean mindsets and legacies haven't been passed from the 40s to now, or even earlier than that, as day one. But I don't want to take you too far back to the Benjamin Franklin days in the city of Philadelphia. But I think that to leave and end this interview to let you know how I'm heavily active and not necessarily marching at every march. I haven't been to one or been on every stage. I don't want to take that approach. But I think a lot of people and a lot of history must be put on blast in the right way. And a lot of times, no one like to be called out to defend themselves of who they really are. So how do you get them to hear your complaint? You must pull them to the forefront. You must use your star power. You must use your influence. You must use your respect. All the things that other people have, but I have it too. When they ask, I'd say what I feel without any repercussions that I might be feared of. That is power, to be able to speak your mind respectfully. And if they don't even agree, they can't do any damn thing to hurt me, because I am, in my career, with help of a lot of people, a success story that I had to put work in for credibility that people give me today.
On this topic, what did you make of Anthony Joshua's speech about what's going on in the world at the moment? Did you see it, Bernard?
Of course I've seen it.
What did you make of it?
I agree. I agree with everything he said, and I listened to it over and over. But you know, what he said, I've been saying many times over and over again in a different way. And he's over at the UK. So this ain't a thing where you're in my neighborhood and you saying what I want to say. Let me tell you something. We got a race problem in this country. It's no secret. But there's a lot of people that's in position of changing laws, making laws, and doing damage because they hide under the hood. They wearing hoods as authority, whether it's in courts, whether it's in Senate, whether it's in politics, whether it's in uniform, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's a good old American. We have that problem that my kids that 9 and 21-year-old and their kids, if it's not challenged seriously now, will have to deal with it when they get older, because we're dealing with it in 2020. But
Do you think
it's been happening.
Change, Bernard?
Say what?
Do you think this situation will ever change?
No.
No.
No. Never. They don't want to let go of that power. That's the fight. They'll come up with a new strategy. They'll kneel with you. And that's part of the pacify the situation, because they feel if that works, we're going to kneel. And I ain't talking about Kaepernick, because he kneeled for a reason. People starting to realize now that he wasn't wrong, as you know now, and not that you went that way, but you seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
He looks like the modern day Ali now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. There's a lot of sub-racism going on. I think there's a few people out there, if I want to give them a little leeway, that don't even know they like that. And that's the most dangerous ones, because then you got a situation where if you in denial, okay, you're in denial. But if you don't even know, but you are, I'm more suspicious of that person than a guy outright says he is, because at least I know where you stand.
I hear what you're saying.
There's a lot of people that neighbors of people that don't really like them because of their skin color.
Well, listen, we could chat about this for hours and hours. This is a topic.
No, I just wanted to throw that at you to let you understand this. Be woke and be aware, and don't be bamboozled, and don't look for any change anytime soon, because it's about power that's been in one particular group for many, many years. And there is a thing called privilege. And it's not because you had to earn, you had to work, you had to do this, you had to do that. Privilege of skin color is privilege. And I don't fit in that category. I'll leave it that way with you.
You can leave it there. Listen, Bernard, hopefully on the next Canelo or Golden Boy show, we have a proper sit down. I'd love to do this in person. But listen, thanks for your time. You always make time for IFL TV. And
Always.
all right, take care of yourself, and we'll speak soon. All right. Thank you, Bill.
All right. Okay.